What's up, guys? Welcome back to Boost Brothers Garage. In this episode, we are rebuilding the rear suspension. We're going to be modifying this torsion bar carrier. We're going to be refinishing it, and we're going to be adding brand new Delrin bushings. Stay tuned. The first thing we're going to do is remove these cantilever arms. At least I think that's what they're called. I'm going to be running coilovers on the back, so these are no longer necessary. You only need to run these if you're using the original torsion bars. So we will slice the welds right here and on the other side, and then we'll grind it flat and clean it all up. Now that we've got that piece off, which by the way was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, we're going to take the cutoff wheel off the grinder and we're going to put the grinding wheel on and we're going to smooth all this out. You subscribers may be asking why I'm working in the old shop, which is my home garage. And that's because my wife is super duper pregnant. Getting ready to pop, and I can't really afford to be away from home right now. And there we have it. It's not the prettiest thing in the entire world, but it doesn't have to be. And we're gonna POR or POR 15, whatever, this entire thing. So this will all just fade into black. I'm gonna do the other side. This side is all cleaned up, and I'm actually pretty pleased with it. Once it's painted, I don't think you'll really notice anything was ever there. All right, guys, time to start painting. We are using POR 15, POR 15, however you want to pronounce it, for a number of reasons. One, it's cheap. Two, it's extremely durable. And three, you can paint right over rust. So there are some spots where there's some surface rust on this torsion tube carrier, and we're not gonna have to worry about that at all. I'm gonna slap one coat on now, and then you're supposed to wait roughly 2 hours. They say anywhere from 2 to 6. To put a second coat on, and they suggest 2 coats. So we'll do that. We'll be back tomorrow and we will go ahead and install the bushings and finish this thing up. Oh, so satisfying. One thing you need to know about POR 15, it will stick to anything, your skin, it will not come off. Once it's dry, solvents don't remove it. I had to use a pumice stone the other day to get it off, and well, I don't know if you can see it, but it screwed up my arm, scraping it all off. So yeah, wear gloves. I did. I should be wearing long sleeves. I didn't. It is officially the next day, and our torsion tube carrier is fully dried. As you can see, the POR 15 leaves kind of a semi-gloss finish. They call it gloss, but I'd say it's more of a semi-gloss. But as I stated before, it's extremely durable, should last for a long time under there. And where there was surface rust earlier, that's all completely gone, taken care of. I also did the spring plates and the carrier arms in POR 15, just in silver. It's kind of an interesting color. It's almost got like a marbly look to it. The black doesn't fully mix in well, but it doesn't look too bad. And again, super durable. As for the spring plates, hindsight 2020, I would have had these guys zinc plated. They don't look bad, but the zinc plate just looks really nice. This is where we need to install the bushings. And in order to do that, we have to heat the bushings up to 250 degrees so that they can slide onto here and then shrink fit in place. One thing we had to do that I was not expecting is we had to take a significant amount of material out from here. Racers Edge makes these bushings a little bit big because apparently the spring or the carrier arms here had some different dimensions depending on year and what manufacturing run they were made on, etc. It took a lot of work, but we've got these sliding in almost all the way in. I'm leaving them just a hair tight like that. The beveled bushing here is the outer. See that bevel right there? And this is your inner. The bushings have been in the oven for I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. They should be nice and hot. I'm gonna go grab them, and then I'm gonna hot potato the shit out of them onto the spring plates. So then, you're supposed to very quickly bolt this stuff together. It's gonna be difficult because that bushing has expanded. We're gonna have to draw it in with the bolts. I'm gonna do the other side real quick, and then we're supposed to let everything cool down, take them apart, grease them, and make sure there's good range of motion. Unfortunately, I think my fears have been realized. I can't move the spring plates at all at this point. Now, the instructions say to pull everything apart and grease it. We're gonna try that first, but I have a feeling that I'm still gonna have to take off more material from that carrier arm so that that bushing fits all the way inside there. Even without it bolted in, I'm pushing as hard as I can and I can't move that spring plate. Even worse, I'm driving the bushing off of the spring plate before I am out of the carrier arm. And yeah, I think for my sanity and so that I can get some semblance of sleep before this baby gets here, I think I'm gonna have to throw in the towel tonight. All right guys, so last night I did something I shouldn't have. I quit. I got a little frustrated with the whole process. Those bushings were really pissing me off. And yeah, I was tired and I gave up. But I slept, it's a new day, and I'm back at it. I'm not giving up yet. By throwing this entire assembly back in the oven, I was able to get the bushing itself off. And what that means is that I now get to go back and continue to clearance all of this out. I'm gonna be using the big sanding drums that I was. I'm gonna keep pulling material until I can get this bushing to slide all the way in and turn by hand. And you'll notice that's as far in as I can get it, and you can still see a gap inside here where it's not fully butted up. And if I push it any further, it gets stuck. I was hoping that that was good enough before and that I could throw some grease on it and everything would be fine. It totally bound up, it got stuck. I had to throw the entire assembly in the freezer and then use a sledgehammer to get it out. And I dented up my pretty spring plate end, so I had to grind that down a little bit, and I'll have to repaint that, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna get the drill out and get to work on this. I finally had success, and it took changing up my tactic a little bit. I don't know if you can see, but I got white Delrin shavings all over me. And that's because I finally ended up just having to take a little bit of material off the bushing. But now it slides all the way in there. You can still turn it by hand. It's perfect. I gotta do the other one still, and then we can reassemble it. Feeling a lot better about this. And we're back again, 2 days later. After I got the bushings to fit correctly into the carrier arms, I thought everything was gonna be great. We were done, it was perfect. I won. And then I put everything together and it bound up again. I still can't move the spring plates by hand. And honestly, I don't know what to do at this point. I had my buddy Alan come over who has done this exact project before. He's also a mechanical engineer, and we went over everything, and he said when he did his, he ran into the same issue. He actually wasn't even able to get his bushings all the way in the carrier arms and to turn by hand. But once he put everything in the car and had a load on it, it kind of worked itself in, and everything started working correctly. So that's where we're going. We're gonna slap everything together. We're gonna call it done. I'm gonna move on with my life. And when we slap it in the car, if it doesn't work, then we'll tear it back apart and we'll figure out what to do from there. For the time being, everyone I've talked to said that what I'm experiencing is pretty normal and we should be okay. What I think is that if this is normal, this is bullshit. And for anyone who's thinking about doing this project, it's not any fun. Have those expectations going into it. Greased up, it's bolted together. Maybe this grease will help some of my issues. Does it move? No, doesn't move. All right, that's that. This was not really a fun video to put together. There's a lot of frustration and like 5 separate nights of trial and error, and I still don't feel like it's right, even though people are telling me that it probably is. It just doesn't feel right. So if you guys have any experience with this, if any of you guys have already done this and want to tell me your story about how it went, I'd love to know it. Comment below. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.